Long ago, in the land of the Nile, where golden deserts touch the sky, lived a civilization full of mystery and wisdom, the ancient Egyptians. For over 3,000 years, they thrived along the river, building great monuments and leaving behind treasures of knowledge. Among their most enduring legacies are their beliefs about the afterlife and the incredible process they developed to preserve the dead through mummification. But have you ever wondered, how did these ancient people manage to keep the body of their beloved dead for thousands of years? In this video, we'll dive deep into the secrets of mummification, exploring the steps, tools, and beliefs that allowed the ancient Egyptians to achieve this remarkable feat. So get ready to uncover the fascinating process that turned the afterlife into a journey to remember. To understand how the Egyptians mummified their dead, we need to first know a little bit about their beliefs about the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that when someone died, their soul would continue to live on in the afterlife. They believed that after death, the soul would leave the body and travel to the underworld, where it would be judged by Osiris, the god of the afterlife. If the soul was pure, it would be allowed to enter the field of reeds, a paradise where it could spend eternity. However, if the soul was impure, it would be sent to the underworld, a place of darkness and suffering. To ensure that their loved ones would have a smooth journey to the afterlife, the Egyptians developed a complex process of preserving the body after death. This process was known as mummification, and it involved a series of rituals and treatments that were designed to prepare the body for its journey. Now let's meet our hero. He is an average Egyptian citizen, hard-working and devoted. He has a wife and children and is well respected in his community. He has lived a good life and is now ready to pass on his legacy to the afterlife. When he passes away, his family is heartbroken, but they know that he would want them to follow his wishes. According to his beliefs, his body must be preserved so that his soul can travel to the afterlife. So he leaves instructions for his family to contact an embalmer, a specialist in the art of mummification. The embalmer arrives at the house with his tools and begins the process immediately. The first step in mummification was washing the body. The embalmers would wash the body with water from the Nile River, which was considered sacred. They also used special oils and herbs to clean the skin and remove any dirt or impurities. This was an important step because it was believed that the body needed to be pure before it could move on to the afterlife. After washing the body, the embalmers would begin the process of removing the internal organs. This was one of the most delicate parts of mummification and required great skill and precision. The embalmers would make an incision in the left side of the abdomen and carefully remove the intestines, stomach, liver, and lungs. Each organ was placed in a separate canopic jar, which was then sealed with a resin. These canopic jars were often decorated with the faces of gods who were supposed to protect the organs during the afterlife. One of the most common canopic jars is the jar of Imseti, the god of wisdom and medicine, whose face was typically depicted on the stomach jar. Other jars might feature Hapi, the god of happiness, whose face was supposed to bring joy to the deceased in the afterlife. The brain was also removed during the mummification process, but it was not placed in a canopic jar. Instead, the embalmers would use a long hook to remove the brain through the nose. This was a painful and difficult process, but it was necessary to preserve the body properly. Once all the organs had been removed, the embalmers would rinse the body again and then cover it with a mixture of spices and aromatic materials. This was done to further purify the body and to make it smell pleasant. Next, the embalmers would begin the process of drying the body. This was one of the most important steps in mummification because it was crucial to remove all the moisture from the body to prevent decay. The body was covered in a substance called natron, which is a natural salt that absorbs moisture. The body would remain in the natron for up to 40 days, during which time the embalmers would turn the body occasionally to make sure that it dried evenly. During this time, the embalmers would also stuff the body with materials such as sawdust, rags, or even sand to give it a lifelike appearance. This was important because it was believed that the body needed to look alive in order for the soul to recognize it and to avoid any potential obstacles during the journey to the afterlife. After the body was dry and ready to be buried, the embalmers would wrap it in layers of linen cloth. The linen was often soaked in a resin to make it more durable and to prevent insects from eating it. The body was wrapped in a tight spiral, and sometimes the embalmers would put amulets or pieces of jewelry between the layers of linen. These amulets were often meant to protect the body from evil spirits or to help guide the soul to the afterlife. The finished mummy was then placed in a coffin and buried in a tomb. In addition to the body, the coffin would also contain items such as food, treasure, clothes, and ushapti, small statues that were designed to serve the dead in the afterlife. Ushapti were often made from materials such as wood, clay, or stone, and were inscribed with spells and prayers to help them serve the dead. They were usually buried with the mummy and were intended to represent the deceased in the afterlife. The entire process of mummification took several months to complete, and it was an expensive and time-consuming process that only the wealthy could afford. However, the results were worth it. The mummified body was preserved for hundreds or even thousands of years, allowing the ancient Egyptians to maintain their connection to their dead. Today, mummies are a popular subject of museums and archaeological sites around the world, and scientists are still learning new things about the ancient Egyptians from the mummies that have been discovered. Mummification was an integral part of ancient Egyptian culture and beliefs. It was a way for them to honor their dead and to ensure that their souls could travel to the afterlife. Today, we can marvel at the skill and precision that went into each step of the mummification process and the fascinating beliefs that drove the ancient Egyptians to preserve their dead for eternity. And that is the story of how the ancient Egyptians created their mummies. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss out on another exciting episode. Also, what do you find the most interesting about the ancient Egyptians? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep asking questions and keep learning. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.